G'day, welcome back to Fading Margins. Well, I'm just recently back in the last couple of days from a pilgrimage tour of Romania, and as my desk is covered with all the sort of micro gubbins that I take with me everywhere I go, I thought you guys might like to share in this and see, 6 or a dozen items that I carry when I go abroad. So with no further ado, let's get stuck in. I think the first item, and sort of a bog off, really, more than a bog off, is this. This is my ditty bag, or my possibles bag, or whatever you want to call it. And in here I carry a plethora of stuff that I think I'm going to need. It doesn't usually change because it's kind of set items. First item is this. This is like this is a little Maxpedition bag. You know the history of that. So I always carry paracetamol in there. I've got some thread, some sticking plasters, more sticking plasters, a couple of earplugs, some large paper clips, some sail needles, more needles and thread. I think there's a little bit of bank line in the bottom there, just in case. So that goes in here in the possibles bag. That's an extra cable for my mobile phone, based on the principle that 2 is 1 and all that sort of caper, whatever they're going with. Nail clippers. I know I carry a Swiss Army knife with scissors, but I always carry nail clippers. This is what they call cohesive bandage. I think especially if you're even if you're walking in the scrub, the most likely injury you're going to get is turning an ankle or something like that. This is sort of a cross between elasticated bandage and self-amalgamating tape. It's very effective. It provides good support and it's really cheap. So I've recently taken to carrying that. A life straw. I've never had to use it. I have used it, but I've never had to use it, if you know what I mean. But it's always nice to know that you've got it. If the water supply is dubious. I always carry a roll of Gorilla Tape. For some reason I've got 2 mosquito nets, head nets, and repellent. A tub of Vaseline, and in here I've got some cotton wool balls. Don't leave home without them. And then in this little black bag here, I carry earplugs, and this little fella will come out before I get on the go through check-in, before I hand in my luggage, because this has to go in the hold. I'll take this out because this contains earplugs and a face mask, not the COVID panic variety, but the I've gone to sleep, leave me alone sort of face mask. But for the everyday, I run it. I keep it in here, and that is an absolute godsend when you're on aeroplanes. You put the earplugs in, put the mask on, and you can pretty much relax in a way that you can't otherwise. And some travel sickness tablets, because I discovered in my late 30s that I got travel sick. I think this is the last item. Victorinox sharpening steel, because you can't have too many tools to keep your tools sharp. There's the other one. Right, so that's the ditty bag, and that'll vary somewhat, but it pretty much stays the same. And as I say, it usually goes in the hold luggage in the of the aircraft, with a few odds and sods taken out of it that I'm allowed to have. Actually, the few things you're allowed to have on the airplane. Excuse me, swig of tea. All right. The second thing that I always carry is Ziploc bags. I don't generally carry the ones with the little plastic zip on them. I usually carry these. They can be hard to get. It can be hard. I find it can be difficult to get good ones in the UK. These are from France. These are French. I've got some American ones floating around here somewhere. But you can't have too many of them. They love them in airports because you can put all your sort of cosmetic-y things that you want to take, sunscreen, whatever it is, as long as it's not over 100 mils in them. And then they don't give your cigarette lighter, because we all carry one. And odds and sods like that. Put it all in a plastic bag. They can see what it is, and they don't give you a hard time. They're also useful for all manner of other things, like packing sandwiches. If you're staying at a hotel, you can make up a sandwich for your lunch, put it in a plastic bag, it's good to go. The other thing you carry in Ziploc bags is unscented wet wipes. No man should be caught without any wet wipes. And to go with that, I always carry pseudo cream, because it'll save your ass on any number of occasions. It's also good for little cuts and abrasions and that sort of thing. Great stuff, worth having. I carry 2 head torches, one in my day sack, which will go on the plane with me, and the other one goes in the hold. No particular order. This one's a black diamond, and this is a Petzl. Just is what it is, just as I pick them up. First aid kit, really underrated first aid kits. I find that when I do get some sort of injury, I think about it, I look at my first aid kit and I say, could I have dressed this? Because most of the time, if I cut myself or whatever, it's at home or nearby. Would my first aid kit have coped? And I think that's a good approach. So I always carry a decent first aid kit. I'm not opening that today, but it's worth having. Then you've got odds and sods, which we won't go into, like the ever ubiquitous hand sanitizer. Here's a little tip. This is a cut off the bottom of a set of long johns. There's merino wool, and I had it sewn up to make a little bag, because I don't have a money belt, and I used this. Yeah, I mean, you obviously can't dig around in it, as I'm going to describe to you. In the shop, won't work, but it works pretty well otherwise. So you're able to put your cash in it. You get a big safety pin like that, and you just pin it inside your trousers, and it takes up virtually no space, and nobody's going to see it. I always carry a snood or a head comforter. This one's merino wool. You can get them in other fabrics. I find that these are incredibly useful. If there's an ill wind blowing, they'll keep your neck warm. You keep your neck warm, you stop losing heat, and you stay. Or you can pull it over your head and use it like a watch cap. This goes in my possibles bag. This was what I was looking for earlier. This is one of these international plug socket blocks. So that's Europe, and then that's the US, and of course it's got the opposite on the other end, so you can put British plugs or whatever you got in there, and it gives you 4 USB ports. And in the electronic age, you've got to have it. So that's always that always travels in the ditty bag. And in here, I would carry my battery pack, another cable for my phone. I don't take laptops. I'm not one of these people. You see these folk. They have an ultralight cycling kit for a world tour, and they've got 40 kilos of electronic equipment. So one for my phone, one micro USB, and the pack itself. Right. I will do the knives now. On this particular last trip that I went on, this pilgrimage to Romania, I took the climber. I did think about taking the Huntsman, but I ended up taking the climber because I knew it was going to ride in my pocket. And you can get these, I think they're just I think it's a Chinese knockoff of a Victorinox item, but that slides over your belt, and so that hangs down, and then that suspends the pocket knife in your pocket to alleviate some of the weight. So brilliant. I always use the, I've changed over. My mate Jack gave me one of these little ferrocerium rods that screw into your corkscrew. But I wear glasses, so I need the small screwdriver. So I'm running one here instead. Bandanas, can't have too many of those. I took two sizes, small ones for the pocket, a couple of large ones around my neck, and I also carry the Swedish Army big green ones. The other knife I took was a mini Mercator, largely because it's got a lot of reach. It's very sharp and it's very lightweight. It disappears. And of course, this is the manager. It was also my keyring, so I just went for my keyring into my luggage. One item that I haven't quite finished deciding on. This is an X-Ped inflatable pillow. I always take a pillow. I've made up a pillow slip. For the winter, I've got a down one, but for the summer, I've got a polycotton one. I think an inflatable pillow is really good idea. My wife used this extensively because she always sat by the window so she could rest against it. It didn't really work for me sitting on the aisle because it just pushed your head forward. But I'm looking at these half donut shaped things because if you fall asleep with your head on your chest, you don't half wake up with a neck ache. But the pillow definitely travels, definitely worth having. While I'm at it, I think we've got time. Sharpening kit. I always take a sharpening kit. It goes in this little bag here. Some ballistol and Victorinox joint oil for the joints. A couple of rags. This is an Opinel stone. A Lansky sort of mini crook stick sharpener. I love these because they just correct your edge if you're a little bit off. And an extra ballistol wipe. Right, and then last but certainly not least, I carry two small bags on my person. This is from a company called Life Adventure. This is like a document case, goes around your neck. I wear it underneath my jacket, which I won't talk about today. And with your passport, I put my passports in there. I put the parking ticket for the airport in there. I know where everything is. I've even still got my old COVID vaccination certificates in there, and that's great. And then when you're at a hotel and things are secure, you can lock that up. For the day to day, then I wear this. This is well, we used to call them bum bags. They're not particularly fashionable. They're certainly not fashionable if you're somebody who wears baggy shorts, tie-dye t-shirts, and Jesus sandals. But it's incredibly useful. You can put your wallet, your phone, everything in there. Clip it to your belt. Tuck it under. I'm right-handed, so I tuck it up here, under my right armpit, and you're good to go. You know where everything is, and there's enough room in here to put that document case and everything else for when you get on the when you've gone through security and you've got on the airplane. Alright guys, that's it for today. Bit of a cook's tour. I hope it's useful. Let me have any comments. What do you think? Anything I've missed? Obviously a comprehensive list. There's a whole pile of other stuff that goes in the bags. Any suggestions you may have. But like I say, not all our adventures are great expeditions into the wilds. Most of them will involve flying on airplanes these days. There is one more item I'm going to talk about that I missed when I was on pilgrimage, that I didn't carry, I didn't take with me, that would have made life a lot easier, but I'll talk about that in a separate video. In the meantime, this is Steve from Fading Margins, wishing you every blessing, health and happiness. I'm signing out for now. Bye bye.